points, poorest regions and epidemics epicenters. International organizations carry out their activities in parts of the world where they are critical for people. They unite countries and continents, save millions of lives and solve global problems. Watch more on this in Kazakhstan International Vectors.
24 years of independence. What has Kazakhstan achieved during this time?
Kazakhstan, I think, has made tremendous progress since 1991. This has been in the economic field.
What is the Republic's role in the international arena?
Kazakhstan sets a very good example for countries around the region.
The first years were difficult for a young sovereign republic, the experts say. The country's task was to develop and adopt a great many of new documents and laws. In the same period of time, the archive of the President of the Republic of Kazakhstan was opened in Almaty. The information on the country's political history has been stored here since 1994. The archive is headed by Boris Dzhaparov. He says that he knew about many difficulties Kazakhstan faced on its way towards independence while studying these documents. The head of state faced a lot of challenges. Indeed, the Soviet Union collapsed not in one day. For example, in the 20th century, many countries around the world experienced deep reforms. Their economies were rising to a new level and the political situation was improving. The entire world was entering into the period of industrialization. According to Boris Dzhaparov, establishing international relations was an equally challenging goal. The fact is that, at that time, along with Kazakhstan, 14 more countries became independent. Nobody knew where they could market their goods. Enterprises of the neighboring countries, where Kazakhstan exported its raw materials, were affected by the crisis. Massive layoffs began. The same situation was in all post-Soviet republics. What documents did Boris Dzhaparov find in the archive and how did Kazakhstan develop its multi-directional policy? Coming up next. The adoption of the Constitution of Kazakhstan has become one of the first steps towards international recognition. The country's renunciation of nuclear weapons has also played a significant role.
The country has been very successful, particularly in discussions relating to nuclear disarmament. This is what Kazakhstan is somewhat famous for.
Kazakhstan is a member of more than 15 international organizations. Along with that, it established diplomatic relations with 169 countries. 69 of them have offices in the territory of the Republic. The membership in major organizations allows Kazakhstan to make its contribution to the development of regional and international relations. Special attention is paid to cooperation with the United Nations organization.
I think Kazakhstan's membership in the UN has evolved from a country that was receiving assistance to a country that increasingly is providing assistance to other members of the UN. And so from a recipient of aid, I think it is now evolving into a donor.
Since the moment of becoming a UN member, Kazakhstan many times played the role of a host country for many major international events. The OSCE summit in Astana in 2010 was one of the most important. The other events included the Global UN Conference for Landlocked Countries, the 18th session of the General Assembly of the World Tourism Organization, and the 63rd session of ESCAP, the Kazakhstan's partner in realization of several joint programs.
ESCAP is one of the 5 UN regional commissions. When Kazakhstan became independent and it joined ESCAP, it also joined ECE.
The The protection of state security is one of the main goals of the archive. At the same time, most of information nowadays is available for common citizens of Kazakhstan, Boris Dzhaparov says. Thus, in total, about 40,000 secret documents dated from 1918 to 1991 were declassified in the recent years. According to Boris, there are no more than 100 cases classified as secret which address the issues of the country's security. The archive is designed for 1 million cases, 100 pages each. Now it consists of 775 cases. The total length of its shelves makes up 29 kilometers. While studying documents from the archive, Boris found the data about his relatives who lived in hard 1930s. He says that the information integrity allows future generations to learn how people in the country on the whole lived before. It is true that the image of Kazakhstan has completely changed since independence. Our country keeps to multi-directional policy. Conclusion of agreements with European and Asian countries is not as important as working upon the country's economic development and improving social conditions. What international projects have been launched in Kazakhstan and who will defend the country's honor at the Olympic Games 2016? Coming up next. In 1992, at the 46th session of the UN General Assembly, Kazakhstan became a member of the United Nations organization. It was the time when a young independent republic made its first steps in the international arena. Indeed, the membership in such association helped the country to obtain global recognition of its sovereignty.
The independence of Kazakhstan since 1991 has seen Kazakhstan evolve very quickly into a modern society and into a society that values knowledge, that values education, and that values cooperation with other countries in the world.
Supporting the country's social and economic development is one of today's main goals in Kazakhstan. For this purpose, an appropriate action plan has been developed which focuses on 5 areas. Among the principal ones are stimulating of private investments and creation of new workplaces.
In a time of crisis, it's all the more important that Kazakhstan continues the reforms it's made in terms of opening up the economy, of improving the business climate and environment in the country, and of expanding trade relations through institutions like WTO, enhanced partnership with the EU and the Eurasian Economic Union.
Besides international organizations, Kazakhstan strengthens cooperation with the world financial institutions, such as the Eurasian Development Bank, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. The latter, for example, has been supporting Kazakhstan for the last 20 years, and the total investment in 180 projects makes about $7 billion. According to the EBRD experts, the Republic has all chances of becoming one of the largest and prospective markets for the organization.
EBRD is estimating that this year GDP growth will be about 1.5% and next year around 2%. In this era of unstable oil prices and commodity cutbacks in countries like China and Asia, it's absolutely critical that Kazakhstan continues the reform agenda and continues its opening of the business climate and reform of the business environment.
Kazakhstan sets high value on the cooperation with China. Last year, the turnover between the two countries increased by more than 11% and made up more than $28.5 billion. The experts assure that this year this figure can reach $40 billion. Therefore, presently, China is regarded as one of Kazakhstan's largest trade partners.
Kazakhstan has a unique geographic location in that it's in between East and West. The geographic location is particularly important for trade and trade relations. With the development of the new Silkway and Silkway economic belt.
Boris notes that the archive digitalization is one of the main priorities. To ensure the preservation of Kazakhstan's political history, the decision was made to convert all information into digital format. The director is also sure that the spare space of the archive will continue to be filled with equally important documents. Kazakhstan, no doubt, has a bright future. Presently, new projects focused on the development of the state economy are being prepared. The training of new and competent personnel is also underway. This year, at the 70th anniversary session of the UN General Assembly, the Sustainable Development Goals through 2030 were adopted. They consist of 6 main areas. Among them are human needs, ensuring good living standards, flourishing, justness, partnership and the planet preservation. The President of Kazakhstan has noted that national governments are responsible for fulfilling of these goals and that the country is ready to make all efforts for the global development.
So the motto of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development is "Leave no one behind." And Kazakhstan has been not only a supporter of the agenda, but it has also incorporated the goals and the principles of the agenda in its Kazakhstan 2050 development path.
Another outstanding example of the international cooperation is the Memorandum of Mutual Understanding signed between Kazakhstan and the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It will allow to implement a number of projects under the Country Cooperation Program for 2015-2016, which includes improving the country's competitiveness in such areas as public health services, education, employment and many others. All the more so, a favorable investment climate has been established in the Republic.
Kazakhstan has followed a multi-vector diplomacy, and so Kazakhstan cooperates with a very wide range of countries, from the more traditional partners, especially the Russian Federation, European countries, and then increasingly there are new emerging economies with which Kazakhstan is deepening its relations.
The relations between Kazakhstan and the European Union have become stable and long-term, the experts say. The country also closely cooperates with Central Asian countries. In particular, the work on maintenance of peace and reconciliation in the region is underway. It is true that a favorable environment predetermines a successful social and economic development, UN specialists say. To their opinion, Kazakhstan is interested in politically stable, economically sustainable and safe development of Central Asia.
Where there are increasing economic opportunities that are driven by trade and investments, there are good prospects of solidifying the cooperation and the relationships among countries.
Kazakhstan also pays much attention to the green economy, which has also become a global trend. In particular, special priority is given to the 2050 development strategy. The international experts mark the Republic's leading role in this issue among other Asian countries. It can be proved by the recently signed Memorandum on Cooperation within the framework of the Green Bridge program between Kazakhstan and ESCAP. Participation in international competitions is another way to become known in the international arena. However, it often happens that a team or even a single person takes over the responsibility for the outcome. For example, in order to be accredited for 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, athletes from all over the world had to win various tournaments over several years. Kazakhstan plans to send about 100 people to this event. The country's national team is determined to improve all the results which have been achieved before. During the 2013 Olympic Games in London, Kazakhstani athletes won 13 medals, 7 of which were golden.